So our next guest was there today, witnessing it all as it happened. Tony Perkins from the Family Research Council. Good to have you with us, Tony.
Shannon, good to be with you.
Okay, so man, this was a tense, awkward moment. These two rivals, political rivals this has been probably their toughest week in each other's faces. But, you know, there are critics who say it's the National Prayer Breakfast. Maybe we could put this on hold for an hour.
Yeah, but it's such an intense time. And last night, the president being acquitted. Then the following morning, he's sitting next to Nancy Pelosi, who was driving this agenda. So, I mean, people understood it. They weren't comfortable with it, but they understood it. Ultimately, it's not prayer that brings us together. It's a relationship with Jesus Christ, and it's the Christian faith. As we surrender our lives to Christ, then we can have unity. And we're far from that unity in America. But I will say this about the president, and he made this point in his speech. He said that faith makes us free and prayer makes us stronger. And I have to say today that despite the divided nature that we see here in Washington, D.C., America is a stronger nation. America, I think, is freer because this administration has been advancing religious freedom more than any administration in my lifetime.
They've made it a priority, for sure, on college campuses, in medical workplaces, in all kinds of places. The critics will then say that it's legalized discrimination. So there's still a lot our society needs to iron out amongst ourselves in finding the levels of tolerance. Professor Jonathan Turley, familiar to our audience, and he was one of the witnesses in the impeachment trial hearings in the House, said this: Pelosi was right to call out Trump for the inappropriate timing of veiled attacks on Romney and her at a prayer breakfast. How about the appropriateness of demonstrating against a president at a State of the Union? Pelosi's argument is the ultimate exceptionalism in claiming the same license. Is it possible now everybody can cool off, do you think?
You know, I hope. But look, these are about big things. Things are at stake. And while we see them bubble up in places like the State of the Union, where Nancy Pelosi commits a crime by ripping up, the president's speech, the president making veiled comments. Look, it makes people uncomfortable. But there's some things at stake in this country. And one thing this president is doing is fighting for those big things. And that's why his numbers continue to go up. As he pointed out today, Gallup, 90% of Americans say they're pleased, they're happy with the way things are going. Look, there's going to be friction when you move forward. This president is moving our nation forward. He's rebuilding that foundation of solid values upon which this country rests upon. Despite his past, what he may have done in the past, all I know is what he's doing today. And he's fighting for the things that so many people in that room this morning believe in.
Well, and he's been called the most pro-life president in history by people who that's their #1 issue. It's something that came up today on The View. I want to play Meghan McCain and Mayor Pete Buttigieg.
Invoke infanticide after a baby was born, you'd be comfortable.
Does anybody seriously think that's what these cases are about? I just know that I trust her, and her decision, medically or morally, isn't going to be any better because the government is commanding her to do it in a certain way.
So this conversation about third trimester abortions or infanticide, the New York Times had an opinion piece saying Democrats shouldn't be so certain about abortion. It said Democrats used to express great offense if Republicans described them as the party of, quote, abortion on demand. Now, Democratic candidates seem happy to leave the impression that their party is just that.
It exactly is that. In fact, Mayor Pete, when he was cornered with this question by a pro-life Democrat, Kristen Day, he said, I support the party's platform. I support my party's platform. Well, take a look at that platform. That platform not only supports abortion up to the day of birth, but it also wants every American to pay for it. This is the most radical Democratic Party in the history of the party when it comes to the issue of life, not to mention a whole host of other issues.
And quickly, I want to, the mayor, Pete Buttigieg, has tweeted this out tonight. He says, I believe the presidency belongs to people of faith and no faith at all. I also believe that people of faith have a choice to make when it comes to this president. I mean, he's talked about faith a lot on the campaign trail.
Yeah, he clings to the Bible and abortion. The two don't go together, quite frankly. Yeah, he uses the scripture, but unfortunately, too many Christians do not know what the scripture says. And I think if you read the Bible and you listen to what Mayor Pete says, the two don't mesh. And so I think I will say this, Shannon, though, I am encouraged that even the Democrats are having to appeal to Scripture now. It shows that more Americans want a president of faith. It's an important issue, and I tell you what, Donald Trump is responsible for a lot of that.
Well, and I would hope that, I think we all agree that we would like our faith to be politics-free as much as possible and to be a uniting agent in any way that it can, because it is an important common thread for a lot of Americans. So. Tony, thank you for coming in. Sharon, what happened there this morning? First-hand account.